It took a removal van to cart away somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 pirated video cassettes seized in Hull last week by trading standards officials. They're still going through the tapes, no doubt at fast-forward speed. But it's the biggest haul of its kind ever in Britain, and it may well become an important test case. Piracy on the one hand and explosive growth on the other have turned the video world into a jungle, from which Luke Casey now reports.
Video. The word and its images have hit the high streets faster than laundrettes and Space Invaders put together. In less than a year, video has become the fastest growing industry in Britain. Thousands of films on millions of cassettes are being offered to a seemingly insatiable public. And the investors and entrepreneurs trying to cash in make unlikely bedfellows. Everybody from the National Coal Board Pension Fund to paid-off redundant steelworkers to downright crooks are chasing a share of the action.
The excitement about the market in the last couple of years is that in a depressed Britain, it has been one of the few markets growing really rapidly. If you look at the placements of the machines, it's been roughly doubling in recent years. To find a market like that is exciting, and so that's why attention has tended to concentrate on it.
We in Britain have become the most avid video watchers in the world. We have more video recorders per head of population than any other country. From 500,000 recorders a year ago, we're now pushing 2 million and rising fast. The royal wedding and the World Cup started a hiring boom which hasn't stopped. Initially, people used these new machines for time shifting, recording television programs to watch later. But in the past year, they've been turning increasingly to what the industry calls pre-recorded software. In other words, cassettes of feature films which they buy or more often hire cheaply. But suddenly, the bandwagon is beginning to creak under the weight of cassettes being produced and the would-be entrepreneurs still climbing aboard to produce and market even more. Cutthroat competition in the high street is compounding the chaos. The trade says there are 25,000 video shops. That's 100 for every one branch of Marks & Spencer's. And although they have 3,000 video titles to choose from at any one time, there are only about 100 top sellers. Shops go bust every day. In one area of North London, more than 30 shops closed in the space of a month. But it hasn't deterred new triers. Even petrol stations, Chinese takeaways, and tobacconists are getting in on the act. Simple arithmetic shows that in a total market worth about £200 million, there simply isn't enough money to go round.
They're looking to a market now which has got a large overhang of stock, a large number of tapes that have gone into the showrooms, and that's likely to depress the market for the distributors for perhaps 2 or 3 years. The reason for that is that stock, which is with the small newsagent, for example, will come back onto the market as the newsagent gets out of the business, and that'll depress the market for quite some time.
Even multiples like W.H. Smith's have pulled out of rental. Boots have cut back their involvement. And Woolworths, who had embraced video as if it were a crock of gold, are now treating it like a hot potato. They've closed down their 10,000-member video club and cleared the shelves to make way for more stable lines. Such drastic action suggests that the video boom was no more than a fool's gold rush, and it has shocked the big suppliers into greater efforts to regulate the business.
It would be a catastrophe for this embryonic video market if such people were to pass us by. We intend to try and lead people such as Smiths, such as Boots, and so on, back into the marketplace with a more carefully controlled look at that marketplace.
Does that mean you refuse to supply the Chinese takeaways and the tobacconists and filling stations then with videos?
Yes, I think effectively, through controlling the final distribution, it allows for a strengthening of those people that are going to be serious within the marketplace, with all due respect to the Chinese takeaway, petrol station and so on.
So, the legitimate industry is in chaos. But there's another illegitimate side to it, which is booming, bandit-ridden, and for the time being, at any rate, apparently beyond control. That's video piracy. This black market, which is believed to be raking off over £100 million a year, and to account for over half this country's entire video trade, has led to Britain being dubbed the pirate video capital of the world. The Pirates normally operate from hastily set-up backstreet factories. Using dozens of videocassette recorders linked together, they can churn out thousands of illegal copies of any video film from one master tape. And it's all done on the cheap because they're flouting the copyright laws. Not only that, but the pirates are also managing to get hold of illegal copies of feature films even before they appear in the cinemas. With such fierce competition among the shops, it's easy to see why there's a ready market for the cheap pirated tapes.
We've got the price of tapes going up. We've got pirate films coming in. The pirate films can be bought as little as £13. The same films that I can buy or even can't buy are around about £40.
Now, how great a temptation is it for a genuine retailer like yourself to start dealing in pirated goods?
Well, it's very tempting. This is the whole crux of the matter. It's so tempting that if a man is buying his tapes and taking his money, and then all of a sudden there's no money left, he's only one way to turn. Well, there's two ways to turn. He can either go bankrupt, or he can jump on the bandwagon and start doing pirate tapes.
The temptation proved too great for the manager of this newsagent shop and video club in Leeds. He's Rod Crooks, a self-confessed video pirate who's had civil action taken against him.
The attraction was mostly the latest releases, and if you can get the latest releases, you're on a good thing, obvious, because people come to you, and if you don't get them, then they will go somewhere else. That's the attraction of the films.
Now, how deeply involved in buying pirate copies did you become?
Very deeply, very. That is it, you know, very deeply.
How much money were you making out of it?
The money I was making out of it, quite a lot. I wouldn't like to say how much, but enough. Tapes. Again,
Mr. Crooks has been ordered by the court to surrender any pirated copies still in his possession. During the interview, he handed over what he said were the last of them to us.
You know, I said, well, there's 2 films, you know, already out, you know, but I'm going to hand them back now. You know, in fact, I'll hand them back to you.
What have you got?
And I think, well, you know, that's one of them.
This is...
well, this is the new one that...
oh, this is the film E.T.?
That's right, yeah.
Extraterrestrial?
Yeah, that's right. You're not supposed to have them, like, and it's not supposed to be
this is one that's broken all box office records in America.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not
yes.
even released in this country
Oh,
yet.
no. I mean, it's thousands of them.
With the pirated product earning perhaps £100 million in consumer expenditure this year, and with the vast number of outlets handling pirated products, and the very considerable number of people doing the actual pirating, the illegal copying on a large scale, it is quite impossible, given the money and the manpower available to them, that the copyright owners, which means the film companies, can track down and bring to justice more than a small proportion of the people who are engaged in this trade. The only people who can do it are the police, and they, with a few notable exceptions, are not willing at this point in time to concern themselves with the problem.
That the video business should have its seamier side is hardly surprising, since it had its beginnings in Soho before the bandwagon started to roll in the high streets. In Britain, the major companies are now hoping that an enforced shakedown will put the whole industry on a firmer footing.
It's got to be sorted out, certainly. I think I see the television rental companies as ending up as a major force in the rental of cassettes. Many of their customers still call in monthly to pay their television rental, their video rental, and that gives them a good opportunity to pick up a tape. They're also in the high street generally, so they're well placed for Saturday morning shopping, for example. So one sees them as being the dominant force, but very much in the more popular lines only.
But it's on America's West Coast that the real power to shape the video industry lies. This, still, is where most of the blockbusting movies are made, and the big studios are horrified at the chaos and the piracy in Britain.
I think increasingly these big film companies will get to grips with this new market, which is so different to that which they've been accustomed to, and will adjust their policies and trading practices to take account. Maybe always just a little bit late, and maybe the quicker-footed pirates may always be that one step ahead of them.
So, the big guns of Hollywood are taking on the video cowboys. But even they believe it will take at least 3 years to establish peace and order in the industry.